Hi and welcome. I'm Lala, CEO of Zenith India, and you're watching me on The Collective presented by JioHotstar. The Collective is a platform which brings together marketers and industry voices, exploring storytelling, audiences, and brand impact, all of which is available on JioHotstar. So, in a landmark moment, today is the first episode, and really happy to host it with all of y'all. With me, I have Sachin Vashishtha, who's the Chief Marketing Officer at Paisabazaar. I've got Jiteen Aggarwal, Chief Marketing Officer at Hettich India. I've got Sajit Gopal, Media Head at Domino's. I've got Varun Mundra, who's the Group Head Media and Innovations at Motilal Oswal. And I've got Jahid, Ahmed, who's the Senior Vice President and Head Digital at HDFC Bank. So it's an absolute pleasure to have you all today. Today's entire discussion is on the growth of connected TV. What I believe is that connected TV is no longer an experiment right now. It has moved and it's become the center. And what we've seen and what I believe from the industry perspective is that it's currently at 60 million households. The advertising spend is also growing. It's pegged at around 2,000 to 2,500 crores of advertising spend. So given these parameters, okay, I have some few questions and we can sort of discuss that. So the first question which I have is, there is a complete consumer shift which is happening. There's a behavior shift which is happening. So Jiteen, I'll ask you first that what is your view? What do you think that why is this consumer shift happening? Where it is moving, your point of view?
So as you rightly mentioned, the fact that obviously there is an evolution which is happening as far as the consumer behavior is concerned. And when you talked about the penetration and the affordability of smart TV, I mean, that's one of the catalysts, which is kind of ensuring that more and more people are adopting, connected TVs today. Because one, based on the quality of the content that you get, and second, in terms of, I think, also the kind of content. The other thing that, the other trend that we see is also that of collective viewing, home viewing that we see, as far as, so in a living room where you have a kind of connected TV, people are coming together and watching it. So, I mean, it's serving both the purposes. So, in your individual spaces, you still have people who are watching it alone, but in your living room, when you have a connected TV, people are coming together and watching it together, right? So, I think there are all this kind of shifts, which are kind of propelling the growth of connected TV today.
Got it. And Sajit, would you want to add something to what he said? So what I hear from him is that he's speaking about this whole thing about the content, where the TV is, and therefore co-viewing. But what is your sort of opinion on?
So one thing definitely that the growth upwards is clearly there. Second aspect definitely is the internet and the broadband connection. And the era of internet being a luxury has gone by. It's a necessity. So both these elements are already there. The only thing that is going to change is the behavior change. And when as marketers we talk about connected TV, a lot of passion, and we saw connected TV is growing. From the consumer point of view, it's a TV that's connected by a different wire or even without a wire. He sees it as just as a single TV that he's doing. He has a remote, he picks it up. The design changes, the buttons has changed. But for him, I don't believe consumers are now even realizing the fact that they're watching a connected TV. If you go out a lot of households, it's a TV. It's a modern TV.
I just want to sort of add to what both of you are saying, and it is about you mentioned about that it's a TV, it's co-viewing and all that.
Yeah.
So given that, specifically in the OTT space, does it make relevant because it's brand safe kind of content? So one is from a family point of viewing, because you're co-viewing. So does that play a very important role and thereby leading to advertising?
So definitely. So if you see the initial start of OTT, you had a lot of personalized content which was towards might be a certain genre style. So the content that was created, if you even just look at the content that was created, there were very specific content buckets that it would be extreme thriller, horror. Right now, if you see the content bucket, you have that family-based shows coming up. So gone are the days where you have very specific for a teenage youth romance thing coming up. Well, they're still there. But if you look at last 1.5 years, you look at the major contents that have come up, everyone is focusing on something that everyone can watch together. Gone are those days where you would do certain very specific shows. Right now, the shows, starting from talk shows to family shows, everything, it's for a co-viewing.
Just to add, with ACR coming in, I think the brand safety plays a great aspect, and ACR is real enabler to understand where my ads are getting served. Okay, so now with CTV coming in and with the ACR input, okay, I can really understand that, okay, where the ads are getting pulled and where are they getting served, are they even served properly or not? So it gives you the length and breadth of the analysis as to how the ads are getting served, where the ads are getting served, the context is right or not. So it's a very much brand safe environment. So it's actually not cannibalizing anything. CTV is a great enabler, great complementing to the mainstream TV, and it's just helping us to grow my extended view to whatever what we used to have in the previous scenario. I think that's how it's also kind of shaping up really.
No, so that actually leads me to my second question, that given this entire thing which we've spoken about, that connected TV, good reach, there's a brand safe environment, everything. So what role does it play in your brand strategies? And Varun, if you could just give a little point of view on that how does connected TV, like what role it plays in your overall brand strategy?
CTV actually lets you, gives you the premise to talk in a larger format, because money conversation is happening in the family, and gone are those days. It's the decision is taken by one person. It's now actually a family conversation. So money is taboo, but the conversation is still family. So I think that gives a larger premise to come together and also talk about it.
Got it. And Jahid, would you want to add on that?
Yeah, I think we used JioHotstar, and I think we were globally one of the first players to use JioHotstar in a first party audience kind of adjustment, okay, where you see we HDFC Bank is pretty much a household name. The core strength of HDFC Bank's penetration in the country has been personalization, and we thought let's extend this to the CTV and OTT environment also. So the whole arrangement with JioHotstar was, how can you help me segregate the segment, people who are having my card vis-a-vis people who are not having my card. And my whole communication changed based on people who are having my card. To them it was more about the offers, explore and enjoy the offers with your card. To the guys who are yet to enjoy the benefits of an HDFC Bank credit card, to them it was all about, you are missing on an opportunity which, let's say, the whole world is already latched on to. Okay, please go and get yours. So that's, I think by JioHotstar, it was at least India's first, if not globally first. Okay, and that's something we're trying, and especially that too. It's this kind of first party data integration is easier to do in a static setup of serials. So I think personalization is spoken about, but when we try to do personalization in live environment where maximum viewership is happening, and viewership with a highly engaged mindset, giving us highly engaged engagement rates. I think that's brilliant in terms of the way we are looking at it from a brand point of view.
So if I were to just probe you a little more, and both of you all, when you're using CTV in your strategy, does it address full funnel? Are you just targeting only awareness or what you said about using first party data and then getting leads through that?
See, I think it will be fair. Let's take it very objectively, okay? Because it's very important that the articulation of the objective is has to be very clear cut, written out over there. Today, when CTV can be used for both the purposes, right? When we try to use CTV, we say, okay, if it is impact leading to awareness, let's use CTV. Okay, because it's a large format, visible medium. Let's create awareness using CTV. Okay, but but only creating awareness won't help. I need awareness I need also to grow consideration, leading to bottom of the funnel purchase intent also. That is where reminder medium, that's OTT plus other digital platforms that we have, that will help me significantly to grow the reminder medium. So the way we use it is, let's create the impact and awareness via CTV. Some stats, 60% lesser cost, 10% more impact. That's CTV for you. And when I'm comparing it, I'm comparing with a mainstream video or mainstream ATL, right? So if I can get a ATL which is 60% lesser cost than a mainstream ATL, giving me 10% better impact, now that's one of the dream ATL that I can have via CTV. Now let's get the other digital platforms to increase the reminder medium and hence increase my consideration and purchase intent.
And Varun, would you
very
have...
interesting actually, and we sort of echo a similar the way we think also, because the wealth consolidation in India is largely limited to about 30 cities in India actually, and we see that with the markets also in that manner. The largest of the biggest investors are actually in the 30 cities of India. That's about 80-90% of the wealth, and volumes of the stock markets are also coming from those 30 cities. And therefore, the need to go extremely pinpointed, sharp, precise is even more important, therefore. And while not, it can't be transactional, it can't be frivolous, therefore the entire story angle comes in, right, of what you were also mentioning.
We were just discussing that, no matter what the overall reach is of media, today if you see around 60 million is the approx CTV, and if you cut across the NCCS AB denominator, it's actually 60 to 70 million. So my CTV is actually penetrating 100% of my denominator.
100% and premium audiences.
And premium audiences,
yeah.
And then we had the leeway to kind of do the exact context to where we want to do it. I think that's what more you want to ask for.
The other thing which I feel what CTV has brought is co-viewing, because mobile was taking families, separating families, right? People were watching their own thing, but today co-viewing is what CTV is bringing. So any sort of view which you have, Sajit, on the co-viewing part? How do you look at it when you are looking at campaigns?
So co-viewing is definitely an important part because and it's a part of not just viewership, it's a part of a cultural part, and that's never going to go away. Yes, initially when digital came up, the adaptation and penetration was primarily from a point of view of watching more personalized content for your space and smaller screen. But right now it's again, like I said, it's come back to that place. And even with whatever financial category you're looking at, we are culturally a country where your TV goes into your deck. It's not a bedroom phenomenon, but there would be additional televisions in bedroom, but you still have that cultural fact of eating together. That's inherent part of a culture, and therein that becomes important, and especially for brands that are more talking to the heart. And we want to look, all of us have different functional benefits. But as marketeers, our core objective is to touch the heart. That's the toughest task we have, and that's the most important task we have to do on a long run. You have to build that loyalty, trust, the friendliness. We want to be the next best friend that you have, and that's what we are trying to figure out. And there, it's very important. Your business might be coming from a male-oriented organization, your financial sector, but it's very important you win the trust of the wife also, the household, or the kids also. So that's what, and that's where it will always be important as a country, because in our country everyone has an opinion to play. You have multiple one decision maker who might be taking the call, but everyone has an opinion.
It shows emotional benefit. It also showcases the ad in a large screen and sort of. Sachin, I would want to ask you a very sort of fundamental question, which is like, TV, like while we would target a certain audience, there was a youth spillover, right? There were audiences which were like seeing that. And then digital came and now you're just precise targeting. You don't go to the spillover. With connected TV and this co-viewing, would you want to use that as a core advantage? Or are you saying that no, sharper is better?
The marketeers have always used an incorrect term called spillover. Like he rightly mentioned, it does not matter in whose name that final transaction is happening. Every decision in a family goes through a lot of dining table conversations, whether it's buying a new car, whether it's upgrading a house, or even a BFSI decision, because BFSI as an industry is perceived to be very male dominated industry, both investments as well as lending. But even in BFSI, while the transaction might be happening in a male's name, but the discussion happens on dining table. So spillover may not be the right word. Co-viewing is, and I believe the amount of co-viewing happening in CTV is even more than the linear TV. Why I would say that? I was reading JioHotstar's playbook, and a metric was mentioned that while we have 60 million CTV adopters, still a large portion of that have only one smart TV at home. And because the smart TV would be better, at least perceived better, it would largely be in the drawing room, because it is in the connected TV is inherently in a very premium segment, I would say right now. So you are basically exposing your communication to an entire family in a NCCS AB segment, where the education levels are higher, where the awareness levels are higher. People they have I would say, more worldly view about things. So they take part in conversations. While if you go to tier 2, 3 cities, maybe they're the parents of the house, or maybe the housewives and all, they may not take part in those conversations. But the kind of segment we are talking about, the kind of segment CTV is serving to, they are there in those conversations.
Yeah.
So I would say CTV delivers, if not better, equally good co-viewing experience to an advertiser also.
Got it.
Today, if you have to look at it, 75%, 70 to 75% of my spends are on digital today, and digital including both, your mobile and I'm talking about connected TV, and within that itself, if I would have to look at it, about 40% would be on, say, mobile, and 35% would be on kind of connected TV. Yeah, but see, because we believe right now, the stage at which the brand is and where we kind of want to take it.
Also, just to add to that, very interesting what he said. I was just talking to a partner again, and I said, CTV also evokes a lot of fresh conversation in the family, if you see. Yeah. Because then suddenly it becomes a mass topic to talk. Otherwise, it would just be one-on-one basis and finish it off. Yeah.
Brilliant point. Yeah, brilliant point. Content is playing a very important role, and I think it's not only like that there is GCs and there's movies, but there's a lot of new content which is coming, which is making a difference. Jahid, what is your view? How are you as HDFC? How are you all using the formats, ways of connecting? Is the storytelling changing? From evolving from digital to now getting onto CTV?
Yeah, I think CTV is kind of brought in fresh life, because what I believed is the advantage of digital was actually going to its disadvantage also. Now, what do I mean by that? What was digital standing for? Personalization. Personalization meant 1:1 creative. Now imagine one creative seen by 100 people vis-a-vis one creative seen by 1 people. Okay, now that was the impact that we were losing in digital. So hence the whole audience was getting, the whole media planning was getting very disrupted by saying, impact, digital won't work. Right? Now that is where it's coming back, because we always said digital is going to be a reminder medium, a frequency builder medium. TV is going to play the instrumental part in creating impact. Okay. Now that is where, with a very finite budget, CTV has brought fresh life into the whole digital medium spectrum, where in a finite budget also I can create impact and I can leverage on storytelling. So we had to create this long story format videos and then do a personalization basis only the age group where the modus operandi is relevant. Now this wasn't at all possible if I take 2 years down the back, because then I would be struggling either with a huge investment. This is a CSR project for us, right? The investments aren't that huge. So this is where CTV comes really handy. It's for us the extension of the kind of personalized, yet allowing us to do a storytelling format, right? To communicate the entire length and breadth of the story that will still appeal to the audience that you're reaching out to and not compromising on the storytelling, and yet giving us the personalized larger scale segment where we want to reach out to. I think that's where it's kind of CTV has brought into new life, and we are trying to leverage on it to the fullest.
Interesting, very interesting. And Varun, would you want to how is Motilal Oswal using it? Like, are you all making different creatives given that now the CTV is gaining momentum?
Yes, I think one good thing which has happened after CTV coming in is that the creatives have started to get a new life, I personally feel. Right, from the cinema to the television, I think the largeness still were there. Digital suddenly got everything into a small playbook of sorts to say 1:1, 9:16, and now I think it's just gone back to a larger screen, which is great to experience. We've started to now experiment of how can we tailor the same communication, but for a home viewing audience, right? So how can the hook retain? How can it catch in the first 2 seconds? The main plot, so before someone clicks skip, because the next thing is they want to get back to their content. So tailoring is now we started to think in that manner of how can we make it not just digital first, but how can we make it more family, family first, household first. Yeah.
The next question which I have is, there's obviously all of you all are aware about the playbook which JioHotstar has launched, right? It basically classifies how to advertise, what audiences, what segments, and also it sort of leans on measurement, and I think that's a very important criteria for all of us. Yeah. Wherever money is being spent, you need to have a good measurement system. So Jahid, I would just want you to again, like, you know, we spoke earlier about the full funnel framework,
Right.
And you know, like, is there any proven impact which you have, you know, using CTV? What's the measurement? How do you sort of bring the right ROI to it?
Right. So I think initially Sachin was briefly mentioning, right, that initially we used to measure ATL to brand track growth. Okay. But I think now what has happened with CTV coming in, CTV has not only got the levers of personalization in terms of serving, but the instruments that it has brought, which will be aiding us to get a top-notch measurement matrix. Now let's say, how do you do this? So let's say you have got ACR, automated content recognition. Add to that cross-device identity graph. Add to that your ads data server, the algorithms. Okay, take that, and then you move to your ADH, which is our own ads data hub. You take these three, and then you add to your own ads data hub, and then you measure growth of organic traffic. Then you measure growth of your digital business, and then you measure growth of your own organization business. Divide it into geography, and then you see where are the ads exposed, and are the ads exposed directly linear to your organic growth, directly linearly growth towards your digital business and organization's business, because this is not only a digital revenue stream, but this is also a digital marketing stream. So this is how CTV is instrumental in helping and aiding us measurement, not only in terms of brand track, but leading us to the understanding of where organization's business is growing, digital's traffic flow is happening, digital's business is growing. And when these instruments are there, it helps us a lot to convince senior stakeholder management, it helps us a lot to convince finance that how the marketing monies are spent and how the growth is happening in proportion to the marketing money spent.
So this is like dream come true, right? Because you advertise, you measure your, like, you know, sort of ROI.
Yeah.
Sachin, what like, is there something different which you all are doing?
We being a digital first brand, so we have a slight advantage over traditional companies that our product and services are delivered online, right? On mobile app or on website. The one advantage we have over traditional media is when someone is watching our ad on TV, if that person is in market or even have a slightest of interest for that particular product, they pick up their phone and then they start checking our website immediately, right? So we call it second screen phenomena. And then the amount of data which is available through CTV, right, we are able to go deeper into that and see in what geographies is it working, in what geographies is it not working, how can we redistribute our media spends, right, what content is working, what content is not working. So we used to do it earlier also with linear TV. At T+3 we used to receive the BARC data, and then we used to map that BARC data with our website traffic and inquiries and so on and so forth, and then we used to measure spikes. And we used to know that this particular program ad ran and it gave us the highest lift. So we used to measure the peaks and, you know, the tail and all of these things. It has become a lot more better because of the additional data layer which CTV is providing now. So
it's even
for a
more
digital
accurate
first
and-
brand, it is it's a, you know,
Because earlier you
it's
would have
very
to
good.
assume a certain lag
Exactly.
or something like that. Now there's no lag. It's completely.
It's in real time.
Yeah.
So one of the tracking mechanisms that most of the CTV provide you is the PLS or the SLS studies, you know, which also tells you during the duration of the campaign what's been the kind of brand lift that you have, whether it's in terms of awareness, consideration, brand messaging, you know. So that's something also which enables you to track, you know. So within the CTV environment itself, you can track that, and gives you a kind of an instant understanding of, you know, whether your campaign has been able to have that kind of impact. And apart from that, what they talked about, you know, in terms of whether your organic searches have increased or not. So that's something which can happen real time, you know. So I think it's a combination of both, and especially for categories like which are not impulse, you know, we're very planned kind of categories. And obviously the decision process is long out there, you know. So for us, this kind of studies, which is the BLSO, helps us a lot to understand whether the campaigns have been able to make a kind of an impact.
Another advantage I would say in CTV is that you can now do controlled experiments on your creative also. In a same campaign, you can expose two different set of audience, two different set of creative, or same audience, two different set of creatives, and see which work better.
Moving a little bit towards future, okay, and what I would want to do is like just one word answer. So like given like that CTV currently is at a 60 million base, when do you expect to reach a threshold, okay, of like let's say 150 million, where it becomes like the medium, right?
Are you saying when?
When? So I just want a time frame, when do you expect like CTV? So let's start from you. What is your prediction? When will CTV reach a really large base? Currently it's premium 60 million, but I'm saying when will it reach 150 million?
So first is definitely it's right now also on a big
One
base
word.
for relevant.
One word.
3 years.
3 years. What about you?
For me, I think it should be about between 5 to 10.
5 to 10 years.
Yeah, is what I
150
believe.
million.
So if we go by the current growth rate, I think it will happen in 3 to 4 years.
3 to 4 years.
Maybe early also.
Immaterial. My audience is already there.
Yeah.
No, but just as a projection, just as a
I think 3 to 4
digital
years.
stalwart,
Because any
what
new
would-
any new TV is a smart TV. So there's no other option. You have to buy a smart TV.
What about you, Varun?
I was thinking 2 to 3 years because the first initial growth has already happened. So therefore it's easier to double the growth and
No,
See, I think we can see it from the perspective when smartphones, they came. Whatever time it took smartphones to take over and replace the normal phone entirely, I think CTV will do it at the equally time or maybe a little faster. I moved to OTT entirely around 6-7 years back. My parents, they stuck to linear TV largely because they watch 2 channels and they have specific programs on that, and they did not know that they can watch the same program on OTT also.
Yeah.
Showed them that the program which
That
they
you
are
are
they're
watching
waiting
on-
for every day, that
It's
okay,
still-
at
it's
this
there.
particular time we have to be free, we
Yeah.
have to watch this. They can do a binge
On
watch
demand,
on demand. The moment they realize that, they shifted there.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a matter
Of
of
education,
that realization and
yeah.
awareness, and I'm sure
and the
all these-
grandchildren are doing a fantabulous job in getting
Yeah,
the
getting
grandparents
getting
shift to
shift.
exactly, exactly. So and all these networks, they are also trying to push
Yeah.
their own OTTs. So I think it will happen soon.
Sure.
No, I think it was a great discussion. Probably we could have spent a lot more time, but very sort of interesting points which have like sort of come out. So one is obviously CTV is becoming mainstream. It's no longer a sort of a niche medium, and we all agree that it's now, like you rightly said, it's become an important pillar in the planning. The second part is that it caters to like sort of premium audiences. So the premium audiences already SEC, AB, targeting, whatever, we've got them ready on sort of CTV. Co-viewing, that's another sort of important point I think which we discussed, that families are coming together, they're watching content together, and and that leads to a lot of decision making, helping emotional decision making. I think we spoke about that. Measurement is important, and attribution measurement again on CTV is much more sharper.
Yeah.
It helps us to connect, and most importantly, it's brand safe, right? Because you're advertising on OTTs, and it's connected. And like we tried to put a little sort of projection, and we are saying that approximately 150 million, more or less, we are saying around 3 years.
Just to add to this, irrespective of the number of TVs coming on smart TV, I think from advertising spends point of view, it's a 45% year-on-year growth.
Absolutely.
So I think it's again immaterial in terms of TVs are going smart or not. I think it's the highest compound growth that any of the other digital medium is seeing. So this is phenomenal.
There's a very interesting stat that India does not cut screens, it adds screens. So today, like all mediums are growing.
We are in a phase where we'll keep on, and like our Prime Minister also mentioned, till I think 2045 we'll keep on growing, we'll keep on adding more screens. So the growth will come in CTV as well as on linear TV. Some genres may go down, but
for sure.
overall
niche genres
both
will go
keep
down.
on growing.
Absolutely.
No, that's great. I think really glad to have this discussion. and it was very entertaining. And as we can see, we still don't want to end it. But thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.